Hello Capricorn, my name is Keith Haswell and I'm a professional astrologer with 40 years experience in the business now and over 30,000 clients worldwide. It's my pleasure to welcome you Capricorn to this particular video on your cycles for January and February 2015. Now what I'm going to do for you first of all Capricorn is to tell you a few things about yourself. That's always a lot of fun to help you to understand yourself more from an astrological perspective. And then I'm going to tell you the movements of the planets, the faster moving bodies, the Sun, Mercury, Venus and Mars through the houses of your horoscope during the months of January and February 2015. I've got 145 YouTube videos up there now, Capricorn, and they're helping a lot of people to find more about themselves and to understand themselves more and to understand the nature of reality more. So you just sit back and relax now, Capricorn, and enjoy the journey here with me, eh? Every single video that I do, Capricorn, is designed to help you and others like you to become more of who you really are. You are a very practical person, Capricorn, ambitious, keen to get ahead in life and succeed. You can take on responsibilities early in life. You're an earth sign. But the problem is, Capricorn, is that many times you take life too seriously. Many times you take on a lot of responsibilities upon your shoulder with forgetting that the main purpose in life is not only to consciously create success, but to also have fun. And you sometimes forget the fun side of it. And so you work yourself to the bone and you take on a lot of extra responsibilities. You're very hard on yourself sometimes and you can get depressed. Now, you earn money from unusual sources, probably tied in with technology. And you could have two types of income going at the one time. You could have income coming in from an unusual source. It could be tax-free money or something like that. And there's futuristic ideas that you have about investments in the stock market and different things like that. Now, you're very psychic. Most people think that Capricorns aren't very psychic. But they are, and you're very psychic, very sensitive. You love walking around near the water or driving around near the water. You get a lot of strange ideas that go through you that you find hard to understand where they come from, Capricorn. And you try to keep your feet on the ground and to maintain that practical perspective on life. But that psychic side of your nature keeps on coming in every now and again, those the little coincidences and those strange sort of things where you get premonitions about things that are going to happen and stuff like that. You have a lot of worries about relatives. Perhaps you have relatives who have problems with drugs or alcohol. You could have a motor vehicle stolen at some time in your life, and quite often, Capricorn, you get into the car park and forget where you put your car. You can have hidden enemies among relatives and also among neighbours, so you can rub some people up the wrong way. Now, you're a dominant person when it comes to the home and the family and the domestic side of life, Capricorn. You rule the roost, what you might say. And there can be a lot of assertiveness there in the home. One of your parents wore a uniform in the job at some time in their life. Now remember that this is a lifetime situation that I'm giving you here, so a lot of these things won't pertain anymore, and a lot of the things can be for the past, some can be for the future, and therefore not a part of your life anymore, okay? But there's a lot of stress and tension around the home from time to time, and there can be a fire and danger in the home through fire and boiling water. So you've got to be very careful when cooking and things like that. Now, you can be possessive of children, and you can have a great deal of possessiveness in relationships as well. You enjoy the luxury side of life, Capricorn, and you enjoy rich food, so you love going out to restaurants and places of amusement and enjoying all the rich food. There's many changing interests as far as diet and exercise is concerned. You've probably got 2 different regimes going at the one time. And there can be many changes as well as far as your job is concerned. There's a lot of duality there within yourself as far as your work is concerned. You could even have 2 jobs going at the one time. Now your spouse, Capricorn, is a very home-loving person, very family-oriented, and you perhaps live on a main thoroughfare at some time in life. Now this is because your spouse enjoys having the general public in view. So they like the cars going past and the people walking past and so forth, and you've gotten accustomed to that as well, perhaps. Well, that's just a little bit about yourself anyway, Capricorn. Now what I'm going to do for you is to tell you the movements of the faster moving bodies, the Sun, Mercury, Venus and Mars, as they move through the signs of the zodiac in their revolution in the zodiac. They also move through the houses of your horoscope, and as they do, they trigger off events and conditions that you've got stacked up there on the emotional plane in the realm of possibilities and probabilities, and then they become actualities as these planets go through there. So they're the reapers of the harvest, what you might say, whatever you've sown in those houses there. Now I'm going to put it on a timeline for you, Capricorn, so that on the 1st of January I'll tell you where these 4 bodies are, and when one of them makes a change into a different sign and therefore into a different house of yours, I'll tell you when that happens. And so it's on a timeline, and I'll tell you what the change in the house and the sign means as far as your interests are concerned and the events and conditions that you'll experience. Now on the 1st of January, Capricorn, you've got the Sun in the 1st house, Mercury in the 1st house and Venus in the 1st house. With the Sun in the 1st house of your horoscope, there's a focus of your personality upon getting things started. Mercury is there, so you're feeling much more communicative, and Venus is there, so you're feeling a lot more social and a lot more loving. And so you're outgoing in your affections, and it is a good time in this period to form relationships, to go out and enjoy yourself and have a bit of fun. Mars starts off the year in the 2nd house of finances, Capricorn, and that's probably one of the worst places for Mars to be, because it brings you into impulsive payments of money. So you buy things on impulse, probably been there for the last 2 weeks, so over Christmas you've impulsively bought things that you turn around later and regret, and spend money that you turn around later and regret. And there's a lot of stress and tension there potentially at the beginning of the year to do with financial matters. So just try and relax. There can be a lot of tension build up around the back of the neck. The first change that we come to was on the 4th of January, Capricorn, when Venus moves into the 2nd house of your horoscope, and it remains there for 2 or 3 weeks. Now when Venus is in the 2nd house, it's a very good time for you to do with money and finances. So you'll be wanting to enjoy yourself and spend money, but it'll also be a good time for bringing in money. And there's a lot of love for luxuries when Venus is in the 2nd house of your horoscope. Now on the 5th of January, Mercury moves into the 2nd house of your horoscope for 2 or 3 weeks. And when Mercury's in the 2nd house, there's a lot more communication, especially with relatives and with neighbours and people that you work with, to do with financial concerns. On the 13th of January, Mars moves into the 3rd house of your horoscope, Capricorn. When Mars is in the 3rd house of your horoscope for 2 or 3 weeks, it can bring an accident on the road, especially if you're impulsive in speech and argument and assertive and dominant, because that'll be an outlet. Then the accident will be an outlet for those pent-up energies that you've built up there in that house of communication. There can be a little bit of lung or bronchial trouble. There's stresses and tensions there potentially through relatives and neighbours, so Try not to be argumentative or assertive with them or dominant with them. On the 21st of January, the Sun moves into the second house of your horoscope, Capricorn, and remains there for 30 days. Now, that means that the whole focus of your attention from a personality perspective is upon financial security and matters relating to your sense of security. And not just financial security, but also emotional and mental security, to feel safe. That'll be a focus of your attention over the following 30 days. Now, on the 22nd of January, Capricorn, Mercury goes retrograde. Now, Mercury is still in the second house of your horoscope, and when Mercury goes retrograde, it means that it's in an apparent backward motion in relation to the Earth, and it affects the house that it's sitting in negatively. So you've got to watch out for miscommunications to do with finances, bad judgment with regard to finances, and it also impacts upon two other houses of your horoscope, Capricorn, and they are the houses that Mercury rules, which in your case is the 6th house of health and dietary matters. There can be miscommunications with people that you work with, and miscommunications to do with health and dietary matters. And it also impacts negatively upon the 9th house of your horoscope, and that can impact negatively in terms of communication with in-laws, and communications with people about religious and philosophical differences. So just watch your P's and Q's there around that time in terms of communication. It remains retrograde until the 12th of February, Capricorn, and then things will go smoothly in those areas again, okay? Now, on the 28th of January, Capricorn, Venus moves into the 3rd house of your horoscope, and when Venus is in the 3rd house of your horoscope for 2 or 3 weeks, there'll be a lot more social involvements with relatives and with neighbours. You'll have a greater love of music. You'll be outgoing in your affections with relatives and neighbours, and they'll be affectionate with you. If you're in the market for a romance or a relationship, Capricorn, then that can be a time when romance and love can spring from those relatives or those neighbours. So you might go out with a relative, or you might go out with a neighbour, and you meet someone by chance, and that forms a relationship. Now, on the 19th of February, the Sun moves into the 3rd house of your horoscope and sees the focus of your attention personality-wise, Capricorn, over the following 30 days upon contracts and agreements, social involvements with relatives and neighbours, and there's a lot of a stimulation of your mind, what you might say. On the 21st of February, Capricorn, Venus moves into the 4th house of your horoscope, beginning a 2 or 3 week cycle of a lot more social activities revolving around parents, if they play a prominent part in your life. A lot more social involvements around the home, as distinct from out there among the general public. So you'll be entertaining a lot more around the home. And there seems to be a great deal more love and affection for family members and those who cohabitate with your Capricorn in the home. Also on the 21st of February, though, Mars moves into the 4th house of your horoscope. So that can see a time of conflicts with parents, conflicts with people that you cohabitate with in the home, family members in other words, and danger to do with fire and boiling water. Now, the fact that Venus is there as well will bring you a great deal of protection, but just watch out for those tense moments in the home that can precipitate an accident like a fire or boiling water or something spilling on your hand or something. Now I'm going to look at Jupiter for you, Capricorn, because Jupiter is a very much slower moving body and takes 12 months to transit through a particular house of your horoscope and through a particular sign, okay? Now the difference is, though, is that Jupiter at the start of the year is retrograde. Now it's in the 8th house of your horoscope. Now that means that there's potential there over this 2-month period of January and February to have secret worries and insecurities to do with joint finances that you share with your spouse or partner, if you have one. And there's also changes that you want to bring about within yourself, but you find it very difficult to let go of those habit patterns that all of us become enamored with. and that we regard as our limitations and our blockages. Now, with Jupiter retrograde in the 8th house of your horoscope, you can have bad judgment in terms of joint finances and investments and things like that, and bad judgment to do with taxation matters as well. So just be careful about your partner, because your partner can be the instigator of wanting to buy something which is not a good investment. Now, Saturn takes 2.5 years, Capricorn, to transit through a particular house of our horoscope, and Saturn on the 1st of the month is moved into the 12th house of your horoscope, but it's only just moved into the 12th house of your horoscope, which means that for the last 2.5 years Saturn has been going through the 11th house of your horoscope. Now, with Saturn in the 11th house of your horoscope during the last 2.5 years, there's been perhaps the illness or death of someone else's child, not necessarily a child that's close to you. There can be sickness or death of a friend when Saturn is in the 11th house of your horoscope. So you've felt this, there's no two ways about that, and you've felt a lot of unhappiness focusing through friends and group activity somehow. So you've had limitations and problems there with friends and through group activities and so forth. That has been a source of depression for you over the last 2.5 years, on and off. Now, all of us are charged with the task, Capricorn, of bringing about change within ourselves. The only thing that's constant in the universe, Capricorn, is change. Now, change comes about within ourselves, generally through the avenue of necessity. In other words, we need to make changes inside of ourselves to maintain our financial viability. We need to make changes within ourselves to hold the family unit together. We need to make changes within ourselves to hold that relationship together. We need to make changes within ourselves to fulfill our responsibilities to the children. We need to make changes within ourselves, Capricorn, in order to hold on to that job. We need to make changes inside of ourselves in order to improve our health. So this is where the avenue of necessity is the avenue most travelled. And also another avenue is the avenue of fear and the avenue of pain. Now, you're never going to get rid of fear, Capricorn. Fear is the opposite polarity of love, and there's only two major emotions in the universe, and everything else is a derivative of them, and they are love and fear. Hate is not the polar opposite of love. Hate is a derivative of fear, Capricorn. But we all bring about changes within ourselves through fear, and you're never going to be able to get rid of fear. Fear is vital to your survival, Capricorn. Fear of heights, fear of falling, fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of humiliation, fear of loneliness, fear of ill health. All of these things force us to make changes inside of ourselves. So that's one of the avenues of change. And also pain. Now, you're probably never going to get rid of pain either. Pain mainly, Capricorn, of an emotional nature and a mental nature that is much more impactful upon us in regard to making changes within ourselves. Through the pain emotionally and mentally, we are forced to make changes inside of ourselves. But it's much more elegant, Capricorn, to make changes inside of ourselves along the avenue of gratitude. Gratitude for what, you might ask? Gratitude to God, Goddess, all that is, for all of the gifts that they have bestowed upon us, Capricorn. God and Goddess love you, Capricorn, and they know your name. And they've bestowed upon all of us the gift of eternal life. We can never ever die. We've all lived heaps of lifetimes, Capricorn, to get where we are today. You didn't just pop in as a member of the Western world, highly intelligent and highly creative. No, you've lived heaps of lifetimes to get where you are today. Each life you pick up where you left off in the last life and continue the journey of change and transformation of yourself through introspection and reflection. So they've given us the gift of eternal life, and even when we reach a level of relative perfection and we then have an opportunity to move beyond the human level altogether into higher states of consciousness beyond the human level. Well, what's life like there? Well, just ask a dog what life is like here, and they'll look at you and just say, where's my bone? Where's my food? You're the source of their food. They can't relate, in other words, to what life is like here at the human level of consciousness. And neither can we. We don't have the consciousness developed to be able to understand what level of complexity consciousness takes on at that higher level. Okay? But that doesn't matter. What we've all got to do, none of us are perfect. None of us can move on into those higher dimensions. Otherwise we wouldn't be here. So all of us have got faults and weaknesses, Capricorn, inside of ourselves. And that's the other gift that God and Goddess have bestowed upon us, is the gift to consciously create all of the events and conditions of our life through conscious choice. Now, most of us don't want that responsibility, Capricorn. Most of us don't want that responsibility, so we prefer to give that power away to our subconscious mind. All of us have the same raw materials, Capricorn, and they are our attitudes and beliefs and thoughts and feelings. And those attitudes and beliefs and thoughts and feelings sponsor decisions and choices. And from those decisions and choices we mould and shape the events and conditions of our life. But if those choices and decisions are not conscious choices and decisions, but subconscious choices and decisions, and if our raw materials, our attitudes and beliefs and thoughts and feelings are one of anger, hate, shame, fear, low self-esteem, problems with our self-image, domination, manipulation, control, if they're the nature of our raw materials, then what sort of events and conditions are we going to be experiencing in life if they are the things that are actually creating all of the events of our life? And make no mistake about it, Capricorn, all of us are creating all of the events of our life. Nothing happens by random chance. As much as science would like us to believe that it's all by random chance, nothing happens by random chance. So it's up to us, Capricorn, to spruce up those raw materials and to take our power back, the power of conscious choice, and to transform those raw materials into qualities, principles and values of honesty, integrity, reliability, trust, idealism, hope, wonder, organisational ability, leadership qualities, and so forth. So then, if they're the nature of our raw materials, of course the events and conditions of our life are going to be more in line with what we want them to be, not the subconscious urges, okay? Now, in line with helping you to do that and to expand your understanding about the nature of reality and your place in that reality, I've got available from my website 12 CDs that you can go there and you can download. Go there and download that first free CD, CD number 1, and see what you think, because that might be a message that your higher self has for you, because it reckons that you're ready to make changes inside of yourself now, Capricorn, that you weren't ready to make even a month ago. And it wants you to hear what's on that first free CD, so that you can then see whether you want to go on to the second CD and download that free of charge. And if it doesn't mean anything to you, that first one, we'll just put it off for 6 months or 12 months and see what happens in that time, and see if you want to come back to expansion of your understanding. But if it happens that you like the first 2, then go all the way through the whole 12 of them. These 12 CDs, Capricorn, are out of my first book, What Really Matters, a book about astrology, meditation and reincarnation. With my voice, with beautiful backing music, I take you in and out of meditation time and time again. And then you can go on, when you've done those 12, you can go on into my deeper intensives 2 and 3 with another 24 CDs out of my deeper book, Coming Home: An Eternal Journey. Now, to give you an idea, Capricorn, of the impact that these CDs are having upon students of mine, tens of thousands of students of mine worldwide, I'll read you an email that came from one of my students in the last month. Dear Keith, now finally at last answers, real answers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The greatest journey of my life. Your lessons are exciting, challenging and empowering. As you say, I am now in spiritual university studying consciousness expansion, and you are my loved teacher. And what a teacher! Patient, supportive, encouraging and expert. It's as if you know at what pace I can absorb information. While some goes over my head, or I just plain don't hear it, I catch up on the next attempt. I'm being watched over, helped along and encouraged all the way. The meditations are perfectly timed and emotional for me. I can see now, though, that my words fail to fully describe the impact your intensives are having on every level of my life. For me to think that events and circumstances in my life were being shaped by outside influences appears now to be a weird dream. I'll never again see anything as I once did, but the impacts are much deeper and broader than that. For my part, I will apply myself 110% to the task. I can't wait to hear you talk about quantum physics and where it fits in with metaphysics. The whole series is gold. Not for the last time. Thank you, Keith. Love, Lex. A very heartfelt thank you about what the impact that these CDs are having upon him, and there's plenty of other testimonials there in the website as well. So that's about the main thing that I wanted to communicate with you. So subscribe to my videos because I'm putting out new videos all the time. I'll probably produce 150 or so in 2015, so subscribe to them so that you get every new one that comes out. And there's another way too that can be of service to everybody, and that is by doing what's called a free horoscope number 1, Capricorn. Now that means that I've got to do your chart and then analyse what I see there in that chart and give you a 7-page report free of charge on what I find there in your chart, okay? Now that represents a lot of work for me because sometimes when I do this I get 40 orders in one day, so I've got to do 40 horoscope charts in one day and 7-page reports in one day, and that's a lot of work for me, so it can't always be available there, but it will be available from time to time, okay? So it'll be turned on and off like a faucet, so go to my website and see if that's available. The website address will have popped up by now, so you can write that down, and I can't always guarantee that that's going to be available, okay? So you must understand that. I wish you well in 2015 and a happy new year to you, Capricorn. So I look forward to working further with you, Capricorn, should you decide to submit your birth details. If not, well then keep on downloading those CDs and watch my videos, and they'll help you to expand your understanding. That's the name of the game. Capricorn is consciousness expansion. So I thank you for your attentiveness here and look forward to working further with you should you decide to go further. Thank you.